practices. So I think it is a good illustration. Now the question is he honest here? Is what he's telling us true, or is he faking it? That I can't say. But even if he's faking it, which I have a suspicion occasionally he is, and it's part fiction, it's still a good faith and pretty good fiction. So I think in the end, I'm somewhat convinced that he either knows about this, knows people who do know about this, or underwent these experiences to some extent himself. So even if he's a fake and a fraud, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. What does bother with me about the book, and it doesn't matter what I think, by the way, it's what you think, but I'm trying to just introduce you to the book. What does bother me about the book is that he's such a jerk. That really does get on my nerve as we go along. In other words, when maybe he's just portraying himself as a jerk or a dudnik or a pain in the neck just to keep the thing moving, but he's always saying, Don Juan, is it really like that? Don Juan, why is it that way, Don Juan? And you sort of feel like this Don Juan would have kicked this guy out so long ago. That's why I don't even believe him half the time. He would have said, get lost, you idiot. Yeah, so there's only two reasons why, or even one reason why Don Juan, if he really existed, would have kept this complete nerd around. And that is that he knew he was going to write a book about him, so he maybe got cut into some of the profits, or he wanted his ideas to be disseminated in a wider area, and so he tolerated this idiot. Yeah?
Well, this book was in the latter part of the 60s, it was a cult thing.
Yeah, I know.
And people were all into looking for experiences through, and I read it again now and think, well, it's stupid, but in those days, you'd shoot peyote and you read this and go, ooh, wow, this is really good. And I think that Don Juan, that Castaneda thought he was Don Juan.
Well, we'll get to that. We're getting way ahead of ourselves. When we read it, we'll see that is more like a conclusion we'll have to draw rather than a preliminary remark. But I know you're more familiar with this since you're out of the days when Don Juan was functioning. I don't think that Castaneda is too stupid to be Don Juan. I mean, that's my vote. I can open anything here where he says, he asks these questions. Did the dog really play with me, as they say? Did I know all this was happening before I told you? What does it mean to be a chosen man? When did he tell you that, Don Juan? Oh, come on, man, give me a break. This guy is a walking idiot. I've had this guy about 5 minutes in my class and he's been out the door, That's all I want to tell you. But he's laughing all the way to the bank, put it that way, So the last laugh is on his, he died recently, actually. There was an obit of him, I think last winter. Yeah.
Can people even remember what they've been through after a drug trip?
Well, we'll see. We'll see about this book. I mean, you're supposed to be reading this book. Again, I think that how much of this should you read? Can you actually stomach it? That's what I should say. I think up to about page 75 is as far as I got. So I've never gotten further, never wanted to go further. But that's up to you. The point being, people say, are we pushing drugs in the class? No, I don't think so. I'm pushing clarity of mind. But on the other side, I think it's good to know about these things. I think the world is an interesting place. I think we're studying varieties of American religious expression and experience, if you want to call it that. And we're talking about the non-standard ones. I mean, if I were to do Christianity in this class, I could spend the whole course on it. I purposely am staying away from Christianity because people know enough about that. And I don't want to keep on beating a dead horse. I mean, today it's Protestantism, tomorrow it's Seventh-day Adventism, the next day it's Anglicans, the next day it's Baptist. No, I mean, that's not for me. I would like to do things that people don't know about. So when I'm doing, what's the title of this course? I'm doing the ones that we haven't heard much about. And I forgot to tell you that at the beginning, but that is the truth. I'm sticking away from the major ones and going according to the varieties, not the mainstream. Yeah.
Is there anything in particular that we should have looked for, or?
I don't know. We're going to go through this book together, so I can't say. Let me. I just want to give you a prelude first, and the good and bad parts of this guy. Let me see if I can get another one. Here's one. Here's an exchange. Can you just tell me where Mescalito takes you? I can't talk about it. All I want to know is if there is another world in which he takes people. There is. Is it heaven? He takes you through the sky. I mean, is it heaven where God is? You're being stupid now. I don't know where God is. I mean, one says that, another is up to this. This is the kind of guy you'd like to take his neck and wrench it like a chicken and then chuck it over there in the basket. So I can't imagine why Don Juan would have put up with this guy. That's the point I'm making. The only thing that I can assume is that Don Juan wanted his ideas to become wider spread. Or he's fictionalizing for the purpose of making money. That is Castaneda. And as you said, he's both characters.
Well, yeah, but also I think he was making fun of the groupies that were following him.
Well,
and
this
the time
was
he did
before
this-
that happened. This is the first book he wrote, so there were no groupies for him at that time. This is their later ones, maybe, but this book is the first one that he wrote, so he didn't have any groupies at this time. Yeah.
His later books, how do they compare as far
I
as?
don't know. I can't get through this one.
I was just wondering if they.
You'll have to. He made a lot of money, put it that way, and I don't think it. Who knows? Again, these are questions I can't answer too well. Let me just start at the beginning here. Author's commentaries on the occasion of the 30th year of the publication of this book. Teachings of Don Juan, A Yaqui Way of Knowledge, was first published in 1968. The book came as a result of anthropological field work, which I did in the state of Arizona and Sonora, Mexico. While doing graduate work in the anthropology department, I told you all this, at the University of California at Los Angeles, I happened to meet an old shaman, a Yaqui Indian from the state of Sonora. Now, there's shaman used in its proper context. That is a charismatic religious figure, not any organizational standing of any kind, but someone that the local people would perhaps consider religious or defer to him because of this charismatic perception. His name was Juan Matus. I consulted him with various professors in the anthropology department about the possibility of doing, I consulted with various professors, of doing anthropological field work using the old shaman as an informant. And every one of these tried to dissuade me on the basis of their conviction that before thinking about doing field work, I had to give priority to the required academic subjects in general and the formalities of graduate work. And the professors were absolutely right. It didn't take any permission on their part for me to see the logic of their advice. There was one professor, however, who spurred my interest to do the work, and then he goes on to explain, the abstract ideas behind his work, and then he really gets somewhere out in space, worse than the drugs. For instance, in Roman numeral 13, we have a paragraph here, or look at the bottom of 12. Therefore, the practical actions of shamans viewed as a coherent system with its own regulations and configurations were a solid subject for serious inquiry. Such inquiry didn't have to be subject to theories built a priori or to comparisons with material may obtain under the auspices of... This is the kind of thing I read in my offspring's papers that they produce for their college classes, which are like so full of jargon and it's almost like a